And then there's like the group of boys that are just cruel to girls.
Yep.
Who just like them for like no reasons whatsoever. And then it's just, and they might be quirky and different, but the boys are just like, no, you're not my thing. You're too weird for me.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's all around hurtful.
Oh yeah, we're all awkward. We're trying to find ourselves in grade 6, 7, 8, 9. Like,
it's like a hurtful age and a hurtful like time.
We are the worst. Yeah, kids can be the cruelest, and you know, I think even people that are on the bullying end, like they're receiving the bullying, sometimes they can even be, you know what, sometimes they might end up bullying briefly to try to fit in. Or gossiping about someone to try to fit in, or
that's what happened to a lot of my friends from junior high. Well, they were bullying me to fit in because they didn't want either their sexuality to be known, or they wanted to be popular, or like it was something. Yeah, it was something that they were aiming for. Like they didn't think there was something wrong with me. It was just I'm gonna attack her because like other kids are doing it, and I have to hide something about myself. Or I have to aim for something about myself to achieve this goal. So like, I'm not a loser. So I'm going to just hurt this person's feelings. And they're not realizing that it's affecting that person in the long run. But it's nice to know that when they're adults and they kind of like explain it to you, or you kind of see how far they've come in their lives. They just like, you go, okay, that's the reason why they were bullying me at the time. And I forgive them. And I forgive myself for like what I did to like kind of set them off. And I'm sorry that I was like too much like loved who I was, or I was awkward, or was trying to find myself. I found out most of it was there was a lot of jealousy. So because you had large friend groups in grade like junior high, you had friend groups. So, you know, maybe I hung out with this group and then sometimes this person. And then you bring everybody together and you get this clash because people start getting jealous if, for example, I go and hang out with so-and-so and they weren't invited, or and see, I never cared if people were hanging out with each other and didn't invite me, because I was like, oh, well, I'll let them hang out. But if they invite me, great. If not, that's fine. Yeah. Because like, I just didn't care, but they did. Yeah, and rumors started to, because if they were jealous of me hanging out with their bestie, they would start a rumor saying, hey, I said this about that person when wasn't even true. And a lot of that went around, like, or they twisted my words, and I always meant well. Always meant well. Like I never wanted to vent about anybody or hurt anybody. No, but we made fun of popular people, but they were I did too. So I did too. And we made fun of the jocks all the time. Yeah. But I did too. But a lot of it was female jealousy. And then all of a sudden I have people snubbing me and I'm like, what did I do? It was because someone had made a lie because they were insecure. And it happens. And it very often happens, especially in high school, unfortunately. And even in adulthood, people will make up stuff about people because they're jealous. Especially in the workplace. Like it depends on like some workplaces have cliques. Oh yeah. 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 And some workplaces are just like, okay, I'm going to come into work. I'm going to do my thing. My work friends were totally fine. I'll just be nice to everybody. And then those like the workplaces that have cliques are like the worst places to work. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's like, it's all high school all over again. It's like, why? Yeah. Work can be bad. Work can be dramatic. You get all different age groups, people from different backgrounds. Yeah. It's crazy. Even sometimes, I even find in a lot of churches, you get these cliques. Oh yeah. Yeah. And because people have different views, because I mean, we're all different. This is the thing about spirituality and religion. It can never be perfect, because if a church or any belief system is the people, nobody's perfect. You got flaws, unfortunately. So every single organization out there, whether it be religious or non-religious, is going to be flawed, because everybody has flaws, and people are either gonna maybe they're going to gossip about somebody, or maybe they're going to vent about somebody, or maybe they just don't do what someone else is expecting. And and then it gets messy. Unfortunately, it gets messy. Yeah. Because and then you get cliques. Yeah. Like I find the biggest problems of like religion and spirituality, or like is the queer and the LGBTQ community. And I also find, what else do I find? Abortion's like this podcast.
Yeah, so those are the two biggest issues, but
those two are like the major, like,
those aren't even like what people do in their privacy, especially if it's consenting adults. How is that affecting? That's not traumatizing or affecting anybody. To me, true evil is an act that is going to actually intentionally traumatize somebody or hurt somebody. So gossip is a big one. If you're maliciously gossiping, not like, accidentally dropping a name or venting, but actually maliciously gossiping just to get a rise out of the person, or going out of your way to hurt that person. Or like, we all know things like pedophilia is wrong. We know that sexual assault is wrong. We know that abuse is wrong. Those things affect people permanently. And to me, those are some of the greatest evils out there that should be looked at and should be fought. It should be nipped in the bud right away versus, oh no, my kid is coming out of the closet. Jesus isn't going to like that. Like,
that should be supported with open arms.
That's not affecting anyone if it's consensual. And I think people often misinterpret what's actually read in the Bible.
Oh, people do all the time.
Yeah, they think, oh no, it's and they focus only on abortion and homosexuality. They don't focus on any of the other sins.
Like
are
murder
actually
and sexual assault,
a lot more dangerous.
Like you listed all the things, and then like murder on top of that is like all those things should be looked at as like bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what's looked at as bad is like women making choices for themselves, whether and their bodies, and also the fact that two people of the same sex are kissing. Doesn't bother me.
And let's not even go into the fact that a lot of men wanted to control things, right? They didn't want women to be equal. Now we have equal rights. We've got our LGBTQ rights. We've got, racism is bad, all of that stuff. And we advocate for mental health, and we advocate for disabilities, and we want to make sure that everybody is, loved and treated fairly, right? We just want everyone to be treated fairly.
Because
so when you have
religion and and spirituality, I find that everything should be, if you're going into religion or spirituality, I think that you should just focus on the love part. That's all I focus on.
So I mean, I can honestly say that, the congregation that I belong to, not everybody agrees with the LGBTQ, but some do. And we just we don't talk about it, but people sometimes discuss it in the background, but it's not necessarily like why focus on that when there's so many other things, like there's so many other injustices. We should be focusing on advocating for the people that are disabled. We should be advocating for homeless. We should be advocating for our neighbors. Those are the things that are good. Those are the good things in the world. And we should consistently be showing that, because that's what I want to see all churches, all religions go towards and strive towards.
I'm with you 100%, because it's like, love thy neighbor. Like, where the hell is that? That should just be like the whole thing. That should just be like the whole Bible. If you're gonna follow something, it's like, love thy neighbor. If you're gonna follow it, start with that, and then get into the whole thing, because like after that, it's like you don't think that like the Bible is about love, and if you read it properly, it's about love. So just go into it, every religion, every spirituality that you do, go in it with love. They're not telling you how to be.
And a lot of people will use the Old Testament as like law, pretty much, and it's like, no. Go for the New Testament. Like, the Old Testament is ancient times, and things were put in place for an ancient civilization. For their survival, and a lot of it makes zero sense today.
It wasn't built for today.
It's good to read, because you're like, wow, look how messed up they were. Like, they were messed up back then. And culture changes. Like, obviously war should never be acceptable, but it was acceptable then. It was acceptable to have concubines and multiple wives.
That's why
in that culture, and God didn't strike them down for that. But then along comes Jesus, and he flips the table totally around, and it's completely different, right? So
because culture does change, so like the Bible should be changing with human beings.
And if you read the new Gospels, nothing really changes in that message. And it all applies today, but a lot of it sometimes does get misinterpreted.
Yeah.
You got churches. Yeah. My church allows women to be pastors, but it's a complete sin in other denominations.
Oh yeah.
So you have to think, and I went to a church that they believe that musical instruments were a sin. Yeah. And now I'm at a church, we have a guitar and a drum and a piano.
Yeah, like dancing was a sin.
Yeah.
Like,
so
all of these things, it changes. Like, we have, like, we evolve as people, so should the Bible.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a book that
people need to be spirit-led. So I've dedicated myself to be spirit-led, and I can't find anything evil or wrong about LGBTQ, especially if it's consenting adults.
Yeah, exactly.
Transgender rights, it's all consensual, right? Like,
as long as it's consensual, I'm like, whatever. Doesn't bother me as long as you love each other. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
It's so, yeah.
And so that's what I advocate for. So, and some people don't like that about me, but you know what?
That's why I love your TikToks, and I love I love your Twitter page and stuff, because you speak your mind and you're so honest, and you've always been this way. And this is what I've really admired and loved about you, because you're just you're okay with being who you are. Yeah. And it's been a struggle, but you are good in your body. You are good. Like, you are okay with I am enough. I am lovable. Yeah. You don't like that's what I love about you. You've always inspired me I've always looked up to you. You've always inspired me to be myself.
And you know what? Be yourself. Be be outgoing.
Yeah, you've always inspired me.
Dress however you like, right? I mean, everybody is, 20 years ago, because I have blue hair now, 20 years ago, that was like, wow, they got blue hair. Now everybody's got blue hair, okay? Things changed. Tattoos were taboo, and I
have so many of them.
So many of them. I went and got one. Yeah. And I've got old ladies in my church.
8 or 9 of them, I think. There's a
I got old people in my church, that is the cutest thing ever. I love it. Things change. Yeah. 40 years ago, if you were tattooed, they won't even let you in the building. But nowadays, you know what? The tattooed Christians are some of the most authentic people I've ever met. Oh yeah. I people that have pasts where they had trauma, people who have come out of drug addictions, people who've come out of all sorts of situations. Those are the most authentic people I have ever met.
And the most loving too, because they know what struggle
they know. They know what it's like to be in the trench. They're able to turn it around and help others who are stuck, right? So people who are have mental illness, I trust them so much. You come and tell me, hey, I've got ADHD, I'm autistic, I've got a personality disorder, they admit to anything, I'm bipolar or whatever. Yeah, I trust you. I trust you because I know you're authentic, and I know you're going to be authentic. And exactly. And if somebody shares those things with you, it means they trust you, and it means that they're a very genuine person. And we might come off as a bit odd sometimes, but that's where I have found the most genuine people in my life.
Yeah, honestly, you're the most authentic person that I've probably met my entire life, going especially in high school. You and Nick were the most authentic people, because you were you were just
and he's so well balanced. He had a traumatic past, but he learned from it, right? So he didn't hold on to any of that trauma, doesn't have post-traumatic stress from it. So again, not everybody gets PTSD from a traumatic experience.
No, but they do. Everybody suffers.
But he's a very stable person. He could be emotional sometimes. Sometimes we watching a movie, he's crying his eyes out. And I'm like, what's
That's what I love about him too. Why can't I find a man like that?
Yeah. Both of us are gonna cry if a dog's involved, or a cat or something. Animals involved, that's it. That's it. Hands off the table. We're bawling our eyes out at that movie.
Yeah, that's me too. It's oh my God.
I'll cry with him in the theater type of thing, right? We'll be emotional together, right? But I can't, I found a guy who people bullied relentlessly in high school. He didn't give a crap. He's like, whatever. Yeah.
He was the coolest guy ever.
He was the most authentic person. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll give this guy a chance. And I warned him too. I'm like, hey, I'm messed up. He's like, that's fine. He loves puzzles. I'm the best puzzle he's got. So No one's ever gonna figure me out. He might one day, but I think it's just a never ending different mystery.
It's the fact that you guys love each other through your relationship and they're like both people coming into a relationship where you're both like, I'm imperfect, I'm not perfect, I've struggled, we've both struggled in different ways.
Both of us are imperfect. We fight sometimes.
But like
sometimes
you work through it.
Raise our voices or we talk in a stern voice and everyone thinks we're fighting. We're actually really not. But
like you guys work through your issues. You guys have a normal relationship. It's a very healthy relationship, which is good. Like it's couple goals for me because it's like, damn, I want like somebody like Nick.
Yeah.
Because it's like you guys are at a healthy relationship. Like you work through your trauma. You worked through all of that since high school. So it's like and you're still working through it because we
broke up every weekend in high school because we were teenagers. Yeah. And then like come Saturday, I'm like, well, crap, I'm bored. So I call him. So like that's how you know that's how you know that you're the one. Like you have those like petty fights, not like volatile fights where it's like
you guys have
dangerous.
petty fights.
But like your stupid petty fights and you're like,
oh yeah, you guys had those.
We're fine. Like, because I mean I see couples break up and get back together all the time for petty reasons. And it's like that's fine. But you know, obviously if there's abuse in a relationship and things like that, then obviously there's issues. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are definitely, they're healthy, they're not abusive. And when you have, even if you have like friendships or relationships or anything, or even with family members, it's all a matter of a journey you're going on a journey with this person, you're learning about each other, and you're giving each other grace for all the downfalls, because we're never going to be, people don't always see eye to eye because we're all different, all unique.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's healthy. You communicate with each other. You healthy, like in a healthy way. You don't fight. You don't like raise hands. You do it in like a productive way, which gets you guys to the next year. That's why we've lasted so long, because you guys keep constantly evolving, but you also keep an open dialogue of like that.
Exactly. And if you know what, if I'm too flustered to talk, you know what, maybe we'll just talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
If I have nothing to say in the morning, and maybe it wasn't a big deal after all, right? Plus I'm ADHD, forget what we fought about anyway, so it works out in the end.
So this is like a healthy relationship, people. This is what you need to search for in another person, whether it be a female, a male. It doesn't really matter. Like the person doesn't need to go have a gender. You just need to find a person that's going to communicate with you.
Even friendships, sometimes it's just even if it's just friendships, like
friendships are relationships. So you gotta like find people to communicate with.
I forgave all the people I've had, tips with, especially in our 20s. Like when people were in their 20s, we were all messed up. And
we were just growing.
We fought, honestly, we everything was we fought about every stupid little thing. And then people were online writing statuses, man, like I'm writing this about them and they're gonna know it's about them, but I'm not gonna say
that's when Facebook first came out.
People did. That's what everyone goes through that phase in their 20s. I see it still.
Teen, and you're still kind of like a teen mind, but you're growing into like this is like I'm a full adult now, and you're just kind of like, what do I do?
Yeah, if any young people are listening, you'll get through this.
Yeah, you're like
forgive your friends and forgive yourself for being a jerk, right? Like life's too short to be having these petty arguments all the time and seeking revenge and all this stuff, right?
Yeah, because you still have that teenage brain, and then it's like you have to be an adult, and then you're trying to figure out what kind of adult you want to be. And it's like, being 20 is just like the same as being like a teenager.
Oh yeah, and I like reconcile with most of the people that we had like arguments with, right? Yeah. I think gonna say early 20s. Those stupid.
Early 20s. Yeah, by like our mid 30s, like by our mid 20s, actually, like I find that we get like. Our brains start to snap together and go, oh yeah, now I'm an actual grown up.
Yeah. Then petty things stop bugging you eventually, because it's like you figure out life's going so fast. What's the point, right?
Yeah, and then by your mid 30s, you're like, what happened to my life? Where am I? Where do I need to go?
Midlife crisis.
Yeah, you're like, where do I need to go now? What do I need?
In 10, 15 years, we can have a podcast talking about our menopause. So it's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
We're coming. It's okay. It's okay, people in your 40s and 50s. We're going to have that turn too.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be talking about this on another, but we might even start a podcast at our old age together.
Oh yeah. I saw my mom go through that, and I'm like, oh, I just can't wait. My husband can't wait because he's like, good, the house is probably going to be really cold when she has hot flashes. And I think that's what he's looking forward to most. So we're both going to win at that point.
a funny thing to like excited about. Oh my God.
Yeah. My mom used to put her head in the freezer. Like,
oh yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, my grandmother did that.
She's run outside, uncovered the AC unit, put it on in the middle of winter. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, it's coming soon, and it's going to come faster than we think. So you know what?
Love our mid-30s came fast. I was like, don't have a baby yet.
Yep.
Need that.
Oh, you know what? Pets are where it's at.
Oh yeah.
I was blessed to be able to have a child, and I absolutely love her to death. But like, it's scary having a teenager. It's like you have to know how to defuse a bomb. Oh, I didn't realize I signed up for the bomb
and a teenage girl too. On top of that, like you don't even just have a teenager; you have a teenage girl.
Yeah,
teenage boys are like so moody and quiet.
They go from like happy to what sets you off, and then they're in the corner crying. I don't, and that was us. So teenagers are scary.
I still can't wait for that eventually, like at some point. But I'm like in the baby stage right now. Where I'm just like, please let me find somebody like Nick where I can have a child with.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at. But like it gets better, people.
Oh yeah, don't lose hope because
it gets worse too. And
I've got friends who, they had a really bad relationship in their early years, right? And then they just didn't go out with anybody for years and years. And I know people who are like pushing almost 50 and they found their soulmate then. Like you never know what's gonna happen in life, and just
that's
keep
why
praying,
I'm for being a single mom too, because I'm like, if I can have a baby and like, because my goal is like 40, it's like, okay, if I don't have a man at 40, pop some babies out with like somebody and just
there's gonna be kids. There's probably kids that need to be adopted or fostered even, like.
Oh yeah, I plan on doing that too.
You know what? Like I know people that weren't able to have children. They ended up being like a Sunday school teacher, and then they realized later on, like, I had hundreds of children and I made a difference in this many kids' lives.
Yeah,
like
that's where I plan on doing that too. I plan on fostering older kids, hopefully. And like if I do have a child, and if I don't have a child, I still want to go like the foster care route and adoption and stuff. But like my biggest goal right now is like babies. And then like obviously I've planned on evolving and going, okay, well, older kids need foster care too. So I want to do that. Like that's just part of my plan. But like, yeah, it does get better and it gets worse, and then it gets better and then it gets worse. Like that's just life.
Yeah.
Like we don't always expect where we're going.
We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So we're blessed with what every person has today, and we just go into tomorrow.
As long as we're just like at the end of the day excited for being alive and and just like doing as much as we could that day, that's like enough.
Oh yeah.
It's like you don't have to have all the boxes checked off. Right? It's just like
some days you get them all checked off, but you know what? Don't kill yourself if don't like beat yourself up if you don't check them all off.
Yeah, especially if you have mental health issues too. Don't like beat yourself up over that.
Normal people probably like stage their house, take pictures, and are like, look at my perfect life, but really there's a mess behind them. I mean, normal people probably lying about their life.
Oh yeah, with
they're just better at it, where people who are neurodivergent are like, I don't care, look at my mess. Like
with like social media, that's exactly it. With the Instagram and like all that stuff, it's like everybody's staging their lives to be perfect, and it's like we don't know what's going on with their lives. We don't know. I don't know what's going on with that person.
Sweep everything off the floor and go, look how beautiful this is. Meanwhile, there's like a tornado behind me. I've done it.
Exactly.
Everybody's done it.
Yeah, we all have our issues, and we all have our dysfunctional relationships and our dysfunctional families and dysfunctional brains of ourselves. Like you don't need to have all the boxes checked off in any fashion. You just
sometimes life's too short to be a perfectionist too. Like if your house is lived in, and someone's like, hey, do you want to go out? You know what? Go out. Like, you can do the dishes tomorrow. Like,
you can do
as long as you don't have mold and fruit flies, you know what? What's the harm, right?
Yeah, it's not going to hurt anybody.
So, no, we need to live. We need to really prioritize in our life what's more important. So relationships, that's the most valuable thing in this world. It's not money, it's not our jobs, it's our relationships. And
relationships with ourselves and other people.
Exactly.
We have to be okay with ourselves too, to really be open to healthy relationships with other people.
Oh yeah.
Like if it doesn't start here and here, then like it can't start everywhere. Like you can't be open armed to be like, okay, I love my best friend.
Oh yeah.
It's like you can't do that unless like you figure it out here and you're like and you're okay in here a little bit. Like you don't need to be perfectly fine with like, oh my God, I love myself. You can get there eventually. It's a still work. Like you work every day at loving yourself. You work every day at your friendships. You work every day at your relationship. It's always going to be work for you.
Like I'm glad today was a good day. I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. Hopefully it's a good day too, but
yeah, I'm glad that we got, like, today was a really good day. We all got, like, we had a little bit of issues with our audio, but
everyone
like,
what?
It all worked out. And like, I got to interview my best friend on my podcast. Like, that's like that just checked off a box for me because that was a goal.
Yay. And I got on a podcast. So there we go. My first podcast.
And I just love what you advocate, though. That's why I wanted to interview you, because you help so many people already just by the people that are watching like your TikToks and reading your like tweets and on Twitter. And it's just, and even the stuff that you talk about on your own personal Facebook, like you help people. And that's what I want people to know about you.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to get judged by some people. And I know some people watch it and some people are a little bit concerned, right, about my statuses. All of my Facebook statuses, usually when I write them, it's coming from a day where I'm having a really good day, but I'm like, I need to really advocate for this. So I'll write something. And it's not my fault if somebody misreads it and doesn't come to me and ask for clarification. So people are assuming that's
you privately and saying, hey,
that's not my, I've heard rumors and like, oh, Jess is off a rocker. No, I write those things because a lot of people are afraid to discuss it or come out to people. And I know there's a lot that are still silent, but I've had people private message me go, I'm really glad you said that today because I needed to hear that. And it's the same thing with me. If somebody writes a status that's similar, I need to hear that too sometimes. We need to know that we're not alone. And it is worth the downfall of somebody coming and spreading rumors about you, or somebody coming and saying they don't trust you, or someone saying, oh, you're messed up, you're mentally ill. It is worth it, because if they come and say that about me, it's like, okay, yeah, and?
It's like that could be happening to their own family members.
Yeah.
You don't know that. Like, it's just, they should be private messaging you too.
People, exactly. So
private messaging her and saying, are you okay?
If you don't understand, sometimes I'll write sarcastic posts. People will message me, are you okay? I'm like, oh, I'm just messing with people.
Like, don't spread rumors about her. She's just advocating people. Like, private message her.
And a lot of the times my statuses are advocating for a certain group. So sometimes I'm a little bit upset at a certain, like, I'm not throwing everyone under the bus.
No,
it was a certain group that was peeving off another group, and I was advocating. So like if for example, somebody's advocating to get rid of the homeless and they're mad at that, and I get upset, I see that post, I'm going to obviously advocate against that person, because it's like, no, you can't be doing that. I'm not letting you get away with it. And I advocate for the things that I care about.
Like we should have affordable housing, not get rid of the homeless, have affordable housing so they can actually have a place to live and be able to get a job, be able to get that mental health care. Like, give people a break. Yeah, like I'm really worried about this weekend. We're having that big windstorm, and I really hope people are able to find shelter, because not everybody wants to go to a shelter. Yeah, because those are dangerous. Most of them are living in tents. They're tents not staying where if it's going to be 100-kilometer-hour wind, like it's going to get dangerous. And I'm just so worried about these people. And I really wish the government would push harder to make different types of community areas for these people where it can get safe. Because like you've got really severe mental issues out there, and then you've got people that, maybe they have a learning disability and they just need housing, but there's nothing out there for anybody. There's nothing affordable. Yeah, exactly. I'm discovering that people are getting their hydro and gas bill and they don't know how they're going to survive January on their income. Exactly. ODSP doesn't give enough, and being homeless is hard enough, and homeless shelters aren't always safe. Yeah, I always worry about I'm struggling financially, and I'm worried about, because I usually give a lot, right? But it's like, I'm so scared because I can't help. Like, I can help with my time. I can help by cooking a meal if I'm able to, but like, it's like, I can't help financially right now, but you know what? I feel that too. Yeah. So it was give so much away, like financially. You want to give so much, like, I want to give it all away. And it's like, it's so hard nowadays, especially like with the country that we live in Canada. It's just like the inflammation, it has just gone so high, and normal people who work every day and have a really good income can't even afford to live a normal. I've got a good job. My husband has a good job. We're like really tight. We have rental income, even all tight. It's like, hey, we pay the bills. Yeah, and then you have we have nothing left.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have ODSP people who are living below the poverty line. And then you have homeless people. And those
and
most homeless people have mental
that
health
increases their mental health. That makes it even more of a crisis. We shouldn't be giving people like an end. We should be making people comfortable and livable and,
so
and giving so that they can work on their mental health, because you can't work on your mental health if you don't have adequate housing or you don't have an adequate relationship, or you're in a housing situation where you got bed bugs or cockroaches or rodents. Like you can't.
It really does affect your mental health. Like you're scared all the time, which increases anxiety, depression, and like all those other mental health stuff that we have. It just increases it all. And then being homeless is even worse than just the fact that like you're getting like barely anything to live. Like you're below the poverty line. And then being homeless, it's just like, where do you sleep? Do you have a friend that you can crash with? Do you have anybody? Most of the time, some of them don't even have family members that will like.
And some people want to, like, some people are they just want to be on the street. Like some people, but you meet them where they are. If they won't accept housing or they won't accept the shelters, you know what? Meet them where they are. Bring them. The government should be funding people to go and. But it's all community run or church run or organizational run, where people go and meet these people where they're at on the street and make sure they're okay and check in on them and make sure.
And the sad thing is that they need donations, and when like, everybody is barely getting by, there's no donations to go to that, and it's just it's like it's like a snowball effect. It's like everybody's affected by this inflammation of like this money issue because of like nobody can afford anything. It's like if you can't afford to live and have a life, then nobody is going to be happy. Nobody's going to be able to do anything. Nobody's going to be able to help other people when you can't afford to live at all. It just causes more issues, and you can't help the people that choose to be on the street because they feel like it's safer for them to be homeless than to be around people because they're scared of themselves. And they're scared of hurting other people. And it's like, you can't help those people unless.
But every single life is precious. Every single life matters, regardless if someone's addicted to drugs or has a mental health issue or disability. Everybody matters. And a lot of these things might be hard to get out of, but people can get out of it. And if they can't, you know what? We shouldn't be judging. We should be meeting them where they're at.
And if there is like a situation where a person is struggling with addiction or is really violent, that person should be able to find a safe place where they can like get away from people and be alone and be able to take care of themselves safely, where they're not hurting other people, where they're not affecting other people's mental health, but they're also safe in their own environment where they have a like safe, affordable place to go to.
So everybody has a different need, and everybody needs to be met where they're at. That's basically, that's where it all comes down to. And the government sometimes tries, and communities sometimes try, but at the end of the day, not enough is being done. And I just feel like the funding isn't going where it needs to, and these people get judged because, they're not working, so they're useless. But what people realize is that it could happen to anybody. You could be rich, you could have a really well-paying job. If you get injured or into a car accident or get a brain injury, now you're living off of ODSP, and it's not enough. So it can happen to anybody. None of us are immune to becoming disabled. We all have fragile bodies. If you don't get disabled, great. You lived a really, really lucky life, but any of us can get sick. Any of us can get a brain injury. Any of us can break our legs. It can happen to anybody.
Anybody can have a meltdown, like a breakdown, like
exactly. So when people are judging people for not working, hopefully karma doesn't bite them in the butt and make them disabled, and then they have to rely on.
And as we've seen with celebrities too, we've seen throughout the years many celebrities that have committed suicide, and they have like the money, they have the houses,
they have everything, they have everything.
So it's like, why are they committing suicide? It's because they don't feel like they have everything in their hearts, and they're not okay with themselves inside because something is going wrong. It doesn't even matter that the fact that they have all the resources in front of them.
Yeah.
When you're at that stage
and
in
I
life,
forgive every single celebrity that went through that.
yeah. When you're at a
because
stage
you know
in life
what?
where you're just gonna do it.
In the end, like my favorite singer ended his life, and his music still is a gift to me today.
Yeah.
So and you know, and one of my favorite actors, the funniest person I've ever seen in my life, same thing. But you know what, I go back and they still left that legacy, regardless of if they left early, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, people could have passed away from illness or a car crash, right? But
yeah.
People have to know that mental illness is honestly, it is a deadly illness. It can lead to people's death. It can lead to that time where they snap and that's it. So,
and it just proves
cherish every moment you have with people.
Yeah, and it proves to all of us that money can't buy you.
No,
like, it can buy you a lot of things, but it can't buy you inner happiness.
Money won't cure sickness. Money won't cure mental health. Money, fame.
Yeah, they can have all
things.
like the resources in front of them, but if you are willing, if you want to do it to yourself, if you want to commit suicide, it's going to happen no matter
what. And we're in like the darkest time of year too, so it's like really crucial, and a lot of people are depressed around Christmas, and
and you shouldn't be.
A lot of people are really depressed January, February, and you know what, like, and my message to everyone is keep an eye on your neighbors, keep an eye on your friends, your coworkers, everyone in your life. And right now is not the time to be badgering people, right? Love people right now, and really show that you care. Make that phone call, send that card, show up at their door uninvited.
Exactly. Bring baked cookies.
Or smile. Sometimes a smile will help. So that's the point. We need to advocate for each other, and we're all doing our best with what resources
we need to
have.
check in with everybody. We need to really like step up and go, oh my gosh, I haven't heard from my friend in a long time. Maybe I should check in with that person. I'm
gonna start texting all the people now that are like way down. They're like, hey, how's it going?
Because
I'm not trying to sell you Scentsy or anything like that.
But it's true. Like December, like January and February are the most crucial times of the year. Yes. I think that's why we have so much celebrations around that time too. It's because
but those celebrations can sometimes even make people more depressed, unfortunately, right? Because maybe they lost
gives us
somebody.
Like mental health like issues.
It's
like, okay, this is just amping up what I'm already having to deal with. Like it's a really hard time during the winter months where you're
right now people can't afford to get anyone gifts, but it's like, you know what, maybe it's not really about the gifts. Maybe it's time to reevaluate and be like, hey, maybe we need to just sit down and drink a hot chocolate and watch a movie and laugh. Like, that's the best gift. Because I mean, great, I got a pair of socks. Okay, I can. You know what? The best gift that we have is each other.
Yeah, I believe that.
I hope that we learn something, because I mean, this isn't the first time we've come into a recession or even potentially a depression. It's happened before. So it all depends on your perspective, right? If people look after each other, we'll get through. It's going to suck, but we're going to get through.
Yeah, it's going to suck less if we can get it.
I'll let people move into my house. If people have to couch surf in my house, I don't care. Like, I'm going to help as many as I can. Pitch a tent in my backyard. Don't tell anyone. Like, everyone should just help each other right now.
Yeah, everybody needs to be calling and messaging people just to check in, because this like recession and inflammation, like it's even worse on top of like just the struggles of the holidays and and just like the months that are coming in. Like, it doesn't matter where you live. You can live in like the sunniest place. It's just it just is that time of year where we're just all struggling, and it's just check in with people and just be kinder to people and lend a helping hand wherever you can see somebody, and just be open to your community and be open with your friends, and just tell everybody if like you're struggling, and don't be ashamed of.
That's the legacy that I want to leave. Is I'm going to hold myself accountable for things that I have done wrong, and hold myself accountable for, if I hurt someone, I'm going to hold myself accountable to that. Sometimes I might hurt someone and I don't feel that it was, oh, well, why would you get offended at that? But you know what? Like, I'm like, no, I'm going to validate their feelings at the time. And it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. No, not really. And so, like, though, that's a legacy. And I just want to be kind. I want to be loving. I want to leave a legacy where I'm remembered as being authentic and doing my best with what I've got and who I am.
Honestly, that's who you were to me. So you're going to be leaving that legacy. Like,
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so, because you've touched so many in your community. Like, you've created like such a big community, and then like your church too. You're just such an advocate for everybody that I feel like in your own like town, you were such a kind person.
Oh, thank you.
And you try your best, and that's all you can do. And honestly,
I
like,
screw up all the time, but I'm gonna keep trying. I get back up and try again.
I just feel lucky to know you. It's like I just am grateful to know you, and the fact that like I can call you my friend is just legacy enough. Like, for me to you, it's like you've touched my life since like grade 12. Like, you've been a part of it, and you made me feel like a better person and feel comfortable with myself again, just by being yourself. You've given me permission to be myself and to not feel so ashamed and not hide it anymore, and to work through like my own issues that I was struggling with at the time. You helped me through a little bit of that, like, and helped me kind of like feel okay with being me. I didn't need to change myself to be your friend. You gave me permission to be myself, and
everyone has permission to be themselves, wrong, as long as they're not toxic and abusing me. You have the permission,
and you
permission to be yourself.
And you love me for who I am. So that that to me was huge, because at the time, especially at the time, like I was so I was in an abusive relationship. I had abusive friends that were really mean to me, that everybody just left me. And then moving and coming into your school and finding and meeting you. Thank God you came up to me, because like you gave me permission again to be who I was, and you gave me permission to love myself, and you loved me for who I was. That was life changing, because I wouldn't be who I am today without that friendship.
Oh yeah, and you love me for my quirks.
Oh yeah, I love your quirks.
Yeah, and I have to remember that when I'm
you bring out my quirky side.
Yeah, I have to remember that when I'm having bad days, because I'm like, I have to count everybody who has impacted me, and it's like, well, I always assume they're just putting up with me because they're trying to be nice, but
no, I really
maybe they actually like me.
No, I love you. I love you who you are. You help bring out sides of me that are in me that I'm too afraid to bring out sometimes.
Yeah.
Because
we should just let ourselves loose on town.
Yeah, because I'm so conditioned to like being afraid of certain parts of me because of the abusive relationship as a teenager. You forget that you're allowed to express yourself in a goofy way. Like, I'm always serious. It's like, no, I have goofy friends. I'm allowed to be goofy too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you guys are my reminders, like my goofy friends. Thank God for you guys, because you're my reminder constantly in my life that I'm allowed to be as strange as I want to be. And it doesn't matter if I'm 35 years old, I'm still allowed to be a little weirdo.
Yeah. I have my entire bedroom is filled with like Pokemon stuff. Like, I was gonna make a minimalistic bedroom because we moved our bed into the other room, and the room I'm in now is like our office, sitting area, TV, gaming area, right? Like, it's just ADHD plus in here. But I was like, I'm gonna make it where it's like there's hardly anything in there. Maybe put a few plants, make it look normal. No, I threw my Pokemon stuff in there. And my Dungeons and Dragons stuff there. You know what? It's me. No one's going in my room. This is my space. I don't care.
Exactly.
It's going there. Yeah. If I'm 60 and I've got stuffed animals everywhere, I don't care. Exactly. My grandmother had stuffed animals all over her living room when she was like 80.
I still have them.
Yeah. I used to steal them all, be like, I like this cat stuffy, and she'd be like, okay, you can have it. Like, so
it's like, I'm a 13-year-old girl still. It's like, there's no big problem. I still have stuffed animals. I love them.
Yeah, exactly.
I am. It's like, I'm allowed to be weird. But thank you so much for being on my podcast, because you're giving people permission to be themselves, and you're giving people with mental health a reason to hopefully step up and take action for their own and advocate for their own mental health.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you really want to do. And I believe in you, and I like adore you, and I admire you, and I just look up to you as my friend, just because you are so open and so kind and so generous, and just care about people. And you just care about people's mental health and people's like reason to live and to love, and you don't have to choose a certain sex or a certain Yeah, like you're just a lovable, open person, and I love that you advocate for all of those things because
I love all these people. Like just and they keep me going every day. Everyone is just, they have their unique gifts and they keep me going, and that's why I'm alive today. I'm alive because of all these people that are in my life. I'm alive because I'm never gonna stop loving them. So
that makes me want to cry happy tears, just because like
and you're encouraging me with your words. So
well, yeah, you know that I mean them, because like honestly, I do, and I've told you this throughout many years that I look up to you, I admire you because you're my friend, and like you give me permission to be myself, and I've always loved everything about who you are, because like even the bad stuff that you go through, the bad days, and like
all the bad days, like, you know what,
I still love you. Yeah, I still love you because like you put up with my bad days.
Like, I forgive you for all the stupid stuff we did in our 20s. Like, it's like, gonna happen, right?
Yeah, like,
and it's so much easier in your 30s to forgive if somebody makes a slip up or like a small offense,
we make
right?
stupid mistakes. We can't always predict the future, and like if we get mad at each other, it's over and done with, like water under the bridge. Like I don't really care. I love you, and like those things that happen don't even matter. Like I'm always loved you, even when we were going through that stuff. Like I loved you. Like it was never like I stopped loving you. It was.
We look back and we're like, look how silly we were.
Yeah, it was just stupidness. It was like, oh my God, why can't we just get along?
I know, but you know what matters is today, right? So it's like,
as long as we're still like we're friends now, we're still gonna be friends no matter how many fallouts we have. We're still gonna be friends. We're gonna be old ladies.
Oh God,
we're gonna be talking about this stuff. So.
I hope we're gossiping about all the people that did us wrong in the nursing home. We're gonna tell all these we're gonna traumatize these young kids, man. Like we got stories. I mean, hopefully today people got stories about the war. We got stories.
Hopefully we'll have a podcast where it's like the two old ladies or something.
We could tell them all about our emotional damage. Want to hear a story, young lady? Come here.
It's probably gonna be called Two Old Ladies. So look out for that. And like 80 years, 60 years from now, you'll see another podcast called Two Old Ladies or something.
Yep. Let's do it. 90. Let's do it. We'll probably remember crap, but we'll.
Oh yeah, we'll be like, what happened then? Oh my gosh, you're always so fun to talk to. I love you so much. Okay, this was On Air with Danielle Gray. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please rate, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're on it. Subscribe to my I can't even speak right now. My podcast, if you have it, you can find that wherever you get podcasts. I'm still trying to get on Apple and all those other podcasts, but wherever you can find On Air with Danielle Gray, please rate, review. And if you want to leave a rating and you can't find a certain rating or reviewing area, just email me that rating and I will, of course, show it off because I'm always grateful for the rating. And I so appreciate Jessica for being a part of this. Like, thank you for just being you and being an advocate for mental health and being an advocate for everybody, because you're just a loving person who loves her community. And that's all we need. We just need more people like you. So thank you so much for being a part of my podcast, and farewell for now. You'll look out for this episode, and bye for now until the next